I still don't know what I heard that night, but every time the clock hits 12:03 a.m., I turn off the radio and I pray it stays quiet. I work the graveyard shift at a small FM relay station on the edge of Route 19. It's mostly routine, checking signal strength, logging transmissions, making sure the automation system doesn't crash. The road outside stays empty after midnight. The only lights are the tower beacon blinking red through fog, and the faint orange glow of my desk lamp. The silence gets heavy out here. Sometimes I leave the receiver tuned just above our frequency, listening to static, just so the room doesn't feel so dead. That's how it started. It was a Thursday, October 17th, 12:03 a.m. The static suddenly shifted. Not louder, just different, like a voice trying to form inside the noise. Then I heard it. "This is an emergency broadcast." I froze. The words were faint, buried under hiss and feedback. I grabbed the headset, thinking maybe one of the nearby counties was testing their alert system. But the voice didn't sound official. It sounded tired, afraid. "If you can hear this, get away from the river." The line cut, then pure static again. I checked the frequency, 91.8 megahertz. No station exists there. None ever has. I logged the anomaly, printed the spectrum data, and called dispatch. The operator told me I must have caught a skip signal, old audio bouncing off the ionosphere. That made sense, until I replayed the recording. The background noise wasn't random. It was a siren, and underneath the siren, a man screaming. I spent the next day digging through old FCC archives. Nothing. But when I searched local history, I found something that made my skin crawl. Back in 1977, a chemical plant exploded near Riverside, a town right off Route 19. The blast released chlorine gas, wiping out most of the population overnight. The report said emergency broadcasts were attempted, but cut off by storm damage at 12:03 a.m. Same time, same frequency range. The town of Riverside doesn't exist anymore, not even a signpost. I came back the next night, half hoping it was a glitch. But right at 12:03, the static stirred again, this time clearer. "They're in the fog. Don't breathe it," the voice coughed, choking on its own words. Then a second voice spoke, female, urgent. "Station 7, do you read us? The river's burning." The feed collapsed into distortion. I felt my chest tighten, like the air itself had turned heavy. Outside the window, the fog thickened until I couldn't see the tower light, but I could hear it buzzing, like electricity crackling through water. I drove down Route 19 the next morning. The road cut straight through Riverside's old coordinates, mile marker 47 to 52. I stopped at the clearing where the plant used to stand. No buildings, no signs, just miles of overgrown grass, and a faint smell of burnt metal when the wind shifted. On a rotted fence post, someone had carved a frequency, 91.8 FM. Below it, a single word, "Listen." That night I told myself I wouldn't tune in. But curiosity eats at you. When the clock hit 12:03, my hand was already on the dial. At first, silence. Then, a tone. 4 long beeps. Then the voice. "This is Riverside Emergency Services. Evacuate to high ground. The fog is toxic." I leaned closer. The recording sounded new. No crackle, no tape age. The voice continued. "If you can hear this, you're not safe there." The signal spiked. The meters pegged red. And for a split second, I heard my own name spoken through the headset. Then, static, and the smell of chlorine in the air. The next morning, the transmitter logs showed no record of any broadcast. The signal readings flatlined from 11:58 to 12:10 a.m., like the airwaves were never used. But on my desk, the Spectrum printer had jammed mid-page, right where the waveform peaked. Across the paper, in dark ink, was a single handwritten line. "We can still hear you." I left the job a week later. I don't drive Route 19 anymore, but sometimes, late at night, I scan the radio out of habit, and if the clock ever reads 12:03, I turn it off, because some frequencies weren't meant to be heard.